Hey everyone, Ben here at Sportsman's Outdoor Superstore, and it's been a while, but I'm back again with another cleaning video for you guys. I went on a pheasant hunt last weekend, and I took my Beretta A300 Ultima and shot about 500 rounds through this gun. We did clay pigeons first, then we did the hunt. So shot quite a few rounds through this. What we're gonna do today is go over the disassembly and cleaning of a semi-automatic shotgun. So first I'm gonna go over the stuff you need to clean, what you need to have. This is just what I use. Feel free to use whatever you want, but you're gonna need some gloves, keep your hands clean. You're gonna need some type of a bore brush kit. So I have a brass brush and a little cloth brush here as well, like a swab. You're gonna need some type of a phenolic brush. You could use a brass brush as well, but I like the phenolic one. You will need some oil, some solvent. You're gonna need a punch kit, with or without the hammer, but I prefer to have the hammer. And for this gun specifically, a 1/8 inch punch. And you're also gonna need a rag. And that's the basics on what you're gonna need to clean it. Now we're gonna go through the disassembly on the shotgun. First up, obviously you're gonna wanna make sure that this shotgun is empty, no ammo in the room, anywhere around you, just to keep yourself safe. So I've already checked this shotgun to make sure it's empty. As you can see, the breech is open, no rounds in the gun. So you're going to lock the breech to the rear, and then you're going to remove the cap here at the top. This is the 4-end cap, and it keeps the 4-end on the gun. So once you remove this, so you're gonna remove your 4-end now and just slide it straight off, set that to the side. And now you wanna remove the barrel. And to do that, you need to hold the piston here inside the cylinder and remove the barrel. You just wiggle it a little bit and pull that out. And then you're gonna set this off to the side. All right, now we're going to remove the bolt assembly from the receiver. And to do that, you need to let the charging handle and the bolt go forward. So you need to hold tension on the charging handle and hit your release. Let that slide forward. And then you want to press into the bolt slightly and remove your charging handle by pulling it out. Set that off to the side. Then you want to make sure your shotgun is laying flat with the breech facing up. Then you want to remove the connecting rod, and that's attached to the bolt here. So this is the connecting rod. You slide that off and the bolt assembly comes out with it, and then they separate. So that connecting rod comes off, set that off to the side, and then you have the bolt assembly here. And this is in 2 pieces, so you just pull that apart and you can clean both of these. Now lastly, since I shot 500, 550, so many rounds through this gun, I'm gonna remove the trigger assembly as well. And to do that, you need to drive this pin out here that holds the trigger assembly in. To do that, I'm gonna get my 4-end and set that under the stock here. And get my rag. I'm gonna double this thing up so that I don't have any marring on my shotgun. I'm gonna line that punch up with the pin and then hit it a couple times. All right, now that the pin is removed, you need to press the carrier stop button right here. You press that in, and that's gonna relieve the tension here, and then you just rock the trigger assembly up and out, and that's all you need to do to pull that out. The carrier is a little bit dirty, but I'll wipe that off with a rag. The trigger looks pretty clean, so we're not really gonna mess with that too much. Set that off to the side, and now the reason I wanted to pull the trigger assembly out is because the inside of the receiver is pretty dirty. So we're gonna wipe that out with a rag and get it cleaned up. So that's it for the basic disassembly of the shotgun. Now we're gonna go through and clean each part. I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right, first thing we're gonna clean is the barrel. And I forgot to mention it, but you're gonna need your choke tube wrench, whatever wrench you have that came with your gun. So first I'm going to remove the choke tube from this barrel. All right, and as you can see, that thing is filthy. So I'm going to remove the wrench. Now I'm going to put this cleaning rod together and run some solvent through the barrel. So get our solvent open here. Be careful with this stuff, you don't want to spill it. Dip my brush in. Just gonna run this through. Bring it back. It did pretty good. Run it through a couple more times just to make sure. All right. Now that we've got our solvent ran through the barrel, clean up any drips or anything. Put your swab on. Then run your swab through the barrel. Let's see how dirty this thing is. Oh, yeah, nice and dirty. So now we've got it swabbed. Take a look down the barrel. It's pretty darn clean. All right, so I'm gonna actually clean the choke tube housing here on the barrel as well. So I'm gonna shorten up my cleaning rod and get the end here and just run the barrel right through the choke tube housing and clean anything out of there that might be sticking around, any extra residue. Spin it here at the end to get those threads cleaned out. Just go in and out a couple times and then inspect the inside. Looks pretty clean. So next we're going to clean up the choke tube, which is pretty gnarly. First you're going to hit it with the rag. That's going to take the majority of that residue off there. As you can see, it shined it up pretty good. Get our brush and clean the threads out. Spin that as you're cleaning it. Then clean the inside just a little bit, clean the top off. All right, now we're gonna put the choke tube back in. And before we do that, you wanna put just a little dot of oil on the threads here. Just gonna take my oil, put one little dot on this side, another dot on the opposite side, and that's all you need. Actually use the gloves and put that oil in a little bit, and then get your choke tube started. Get your wrench back on, and then go ahead and thread the choke tube back in. Make sure it's tight. Pull your choke tube wrench. And now we're going to move on to cleaning out the gas cylinder. And this is very important on this gun. You don't ever want to try to disassemble the cylinder here. That's something that you want to make sure that you take to a gunsmith if you have issues with this. You definitely don't want to mess with it. So you want to pull the piston out, which is back here on the back side, and that's where it's going to have the most carbon buildup. As you can see there, it's pretty dirty. First, we're going to hit that with a rag and just clean the big stuff off of it. And it's got a bunch of carbon right there. So the rag is taking a good bit of the carbon off, which is good. And take your brush, run your brush down the grooves, just get any of that excess carbon out of there. And really, that's going to be it for this part. And on this cylinder and piston and everything, you don't want to put any oil on this. Just keep it dry. Clean as much carbon off as you can, and just throw it back in. So I'm gonna inspect the inside here, and that's pretty dirty, so I'm going to run my rag in there as well. Once we clean the cylinder out and we've cleaned the piston off, you're just going to put that back in the cylinder, and it should go in there pretty easy, just like that. And that's it for the main part of the barrel, and we're actually going to clean this up right here as well. Just going to use the brush and rag again and just make sure that there's no carbon buildup in there. That cleaned up pretty nice there. So that's it for the barrel. Now we're going to move on to cleaning the bolt assembly. And as I said before, when I disassembled, it comes in 2 different pieces. You can even disassemble it further than this, but for cleaning and general maintenance, you don't need to do that. As you can see down in here, that's your firing pin and spring and everything. It looks fairly clean. I'm just going to hit it with a brush. Yeah, the lock and everything looks pretty clean, so I'm just going to hit this with a brush really quick. It doesn't have to be anything crazy unless it's super dirty. Just hit every side with the brush, clean it up. Hit the bolt carrier here the same way. Hit the face, clean it up. Hit the rails here that guide in the receiver. Yeah, looks pretty clean. Now I'll just hit it with the rag, make sure it's dry. You don't really want to use a whole lot of solvent unless it's really dirty and nasty. And that brush has a little solvent on it anyway, so just drop that assembly back together. It's good to go. Set that off to the side. Move into the actual receiver on the shotgun and the mag tube. As you can see here, where the at the end of the mag tube, it's got a good bit of carbon here. We're just going to try to get that off with the rag first. So we'll clean the mag tube off and then run the rag on the end, and that really cleaned all that carbon off the end there. So it's really all you have to do. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a bunch of carbon and dust and stuff down in there. Just take your rag and drop that down in and clean it all up. We're going to put a little oil here in the receiver where the bolt assembly moves, in these little grooves right here. Next, we're going to clean the connecting rod here. This attaches to the bolt assembly. So same process. Since you have a tube here, I'm going to run the brass brush through here. And just clean that up a little bit. Take my rag, clean the ends out. If there's anything crazy, hit it with the brush. All right, now we're gonna go to reassemble the shotgun. First up, gonna drop your trigger back in. It's the reverse order. This little pin here in the back is gonna interface with the back of the receiver. And you're just gonna pivot it in. It's gonna lay flush. Put your roll pin back in there. Okay, now we're going to put the bolt assembly back in the shotgun. You're going to need your assembly, your charging handle, and your connecting rod. Now you want to keep the shotgun flat like this with the breech facing up again. Hold your bolt together and you put that connecting rod in here so it interfaces with the bolt. This can get kind of tricky, but essentially you want to make sure that your connecting rod goes over the mag tube, and you want to make sure that your rod here on the back of the bolt lines up with the plunger in the gun. And that plunger is where your recoil spring in the back of the stock is. So you want to make sure you keep that all lined up. All right, now that we have the bolt assembly back in the receiver, you're gonna take your charging handle and reinstall that. Whoops. Once that locks in, you're going to lock the bolt to the rear. Now it's locked in, we can reinstall the barrel. And you want to make sure again that you put your thumb behind that piston there, especially now that it's clean. It's going to slide in and out of there pretty easy, and you don't want that to fall off. You're going to guide your barrel back in the receiver, and at the same time you want to make sure that it lines up here at the piston. Now that everything's lined up here, you're going to take your fore end, put that back on. And then you're going to take your cap and tighten it back up. Now you've reassembled your shotgun and you just want to do a function check on it. So I'm going to put my finger in front of the charging handle and hit that bolt release. Make sure it drops the bolt. We're good there. You want to make sure that it cycles back and forth. And then you want to lock your bolt back to the rear again and make sure you're good to go. So that's the very basics on cleaning one of these A300s or a semi-automatic shotgun. Again, you want to refer to your owner's manual for your specific shotgun on how to do this. We just wanted to give you a wide range overview on how to clean and disassemble a semi-automatic shotgun. That is going to wrap up our video for today. I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't, click the like button on this video and subscribe while you're at it. And while you're at it as well, go check out all of our other social media platforms. We'd really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.